He's a talentless boy who transfers to a school of elites and ends up living with 3 genius sisters while trying to fulfill his mother's final wish. The story begins with a painfully average boy named Yu who gets transferred to the Seika Academy of the Elites only because his mom happens to be a legendary prodigy who graduated from there. Yu steps into the boxing ring and gets absolutely wrecked by the vice captain of the martial arts club, who calls him a pathetic weakling. Seeing his poor performance, the crowd doesn't hold back either, tossing insults left and right. Wondering how someone this clueless could possibly be the son of Sabara Ayase, Yu gets back on his feet, trying to fire himself up with memories of his late mother, whose beauty and acting skills were admired across the globe. Sabara was so gifted that she graduated at the top of her class from a prestigious international university. His opponent, in a strange twist of encouragement, tries to stir something inside Yu, claiming that the school's 3 royals are waiting to witness the hidden power within him. But Yu keeps insisting that he's never been into sports or received any kind of training, yet everyone continues to dump their expectations on him. Frustrated, he yells out the obvious truth that he's not his mother and charges straight at the trainer in what looks like a dramatic burst of untapped power. The crowd braces themselves, expecting something huge, only for Yu to land a couple of soft pokes that don't even make the trainer flinch. The trainer dude gets angry and slams our guy straight into the ground, making it painfully clear once again that Yu is nothing more than a disappointment. Everyone who had placed their hopes on him gets smacked in the face with cold, hard reality. But this isn't anything new for Yu. He's been carrying this weight since the moment he showed up in the world. Yu then smirks and throws a jab at the trainer, tossing out some half-cooked line about how the more average someone is, the more they obsess over talent like it's some holy grail. For a second, the trainer catches this strange spark in Yu's eyes, a familiar intensity that mirrors the gaze of a top-tier actress. He realizes that Yu probably failed to walk away with Sabara's skills, but there's no denying he ended up with her looks. Still, the trainer shakes it off as Yu turns to walk away. Right then, his sidekick comes rushing over, reminding him that the royals are watching this rookie like hawks. That little reminder finally pushes him off the deep end, and now he decides he's just going to beat the talent into him, lifting his arm to deliver one last brutal move meant to whip Yu into shape. But just before the punch can land, an orange-haired fighter storms in from out of nowhere and sends the trainer flying, calling him a complete disgrace to martial arts for picking a fight with amateurs. Everyone in the dojo calls her captain. Right then, a blue-haired and a green-haired lady strut in like they're crashing a concert, demanding to know how the actress's son did on the test. The blue-haired one is Kazuki, famous enough that her show tickets vanish before they even hit the shelves. The green-haired one is Miwa, the youngest title holder in shogi, because apparently, some people peak before puberty. As for the orange-haired fighter who jumped in earlier, it turns out she's Nico from the athlete program, a martial arts champ with a flawless record and an ego to match. The crowd loses its screaming, because these 3 drama queens are none other than the school's so-called 3 royals. Kazuki steps forward and demands to know how well Sabara's son did in the test, hoping they could squeeze a 4th royal out of him, but the trainer dude shoots that down by calling the boy a mediocre noob whose talent probably registers in the negative. The 3 hotshot ladies tell our boy flat out that there's no use for someone like him at their school. Yu pulls out a shiny paper and tells them he couldn't care less because he has already made up his mind to join the general education program. The 3 ladies look like they've just heard a myth because none of them even knew their school had such a thing. And before the boy can walk out of there with whatever dignity he has left, he ends up being dragged into cleaning the dojo since losers apparently scrub floors. By evening, when Captain Nico and her squad show up at the dojo for their training session, they all scream like they saw a ghost because the place is actually spotless for once. Apparently, the trash dwellers have never seen the dojo this freakishly clean. While heading back home, Yu quietly wonders how he has never once denied being a disappointment. Ever since he was a kid, he craved the kind of praise his mother used to get. But it didn't take long for him to figure out that while his mom was a walking prodigy, he was just some average nobody. As he tried every possible talent he could get his hands on, he slowly ended up pushing himself further away from his mom. There was this one drama she acted in where she played a housewife, and even though that was way too low profile for someone of her caliber, both Yu and his mom adored the show. When his mother got hit with a terminal illness, the two talked about how their favorite part of the show was the bit where each episode ends with a family dinner. That was the first time in years his mother opened up to him properly, and that's when Yu finally realizes she had always dreamed of having a family as warm and beautiful as the one in the show. Sadly, that little happy moment doesn't last too long, and the lady ends up kicking the bucket after asking her son to go and find himself a happy family. The boy packs his things, and while hoping to make up for everything he and his mother missed out on, he heads to Mikadono's place. The mansion's owner sends him the keys along with a note telling him he can sneak in whenever he wants. As he steps inside, he gets completely thrilled seeing how massive the place is. He starts wondering who this Mr. Mikadono even is, and just as he sits down to unpack his stuff, Nico shows up in full attack mode, desperate to knock out what she thinks is a burglar who broke into her house. Our guy tries explaining that he's not who she thinks he is, but the shabby lady ends up slipping and falling flat on the floor like a cut scene out of a cheap comedy. Yu takes this golden moment to mock her, throwing in that even prodigies hit the floor sometimes, then tosses a towel on her as if he's doing charity. Right then, Miwa and Kazuki show up and ask what this boy is doing in their house, and Nico's quick to point out he's clearly a burglar. As our hero tries to figure out why these royals are even here, he gets a call from Mikadono himself. The man asks if he's found the place and goes on to explain that his late mother was not only his friend, but also his benefactor, which is why he's now returning the favor. The shady mister then adds that he forgot to tell him that he has 3 daughters and tells the boy to get along with them. Yu turns toward the sisters, remembering his mother's dying wish, and starts thinking that now he actually has to become a family with the 3 Mikadono girls. To him, this whole situation feels nothing short of a dream. Living with 3 gifted cuties sounds like a blessing from the heavens. The girls, however, don't look too thrilled about the arrangement, but since their dad's the one calling the shots, they have no choice but to play along. Still, the boy manages to pull himself together and properly introduces himself again, hoping to get to know them better. Right then, the boy realizes something terrifying. The entire mansion looks like a pig pen dressed up as a house, covered in mess everywhere. Apparently, Kazuki was in charge of the dishes, but she made some half-baked excuse about not having time. In truth, she did try, but ended up breaking every single dish and gave up in frustration. Meanwhile, Miwa and Nico were supposed to handle the laundry and cleaning, but judging by how they look and move, they seem like the kind of disasters that need cleaning themselves. After getting roasted right where it hurts, the ladies quickly switch gears and start dragging our boy by bringing up how he barely managed a miserable 45 on the aptitude test, though Yu doesn't let that slide and mocks them by correcting it to 42. While the 3 of them keep bickering and throwing around useless complaints, they glance around and slowly notice that everything is suddenly shining like a 5-star hotel lobby. Turns out, while they were busy running their mouths, the boy had already turned into some sort of cleaning wizard. The next morning, our boy wakes up hoping to get to know the ladies better over breakfast since there's no school today. He plans to rest up a little, but that idea dies quickly thanks to non-stop earthquakes shaking the whole place, which turns out to be Nico casually splitting tiles with her bare fists in her personal dojo. After witnessing that madness, he heads over to check on the others. Miwa's busy playing shogi and arguing with an AI, while Kazuki looks like she's running a drug lab, tossing random stuff into a blender and making a suspicious milkshake that might either poison someone or kill them outright. When he asks what she's doing, Kazuki mocks him and says it's just their version of a morning routine, the same way people like him need to brush their teeth and do other basic stuff. As Yu tries suggesting dinner together, the eldest Mikadono daughter tells him to handle the house since they'll all be out with packed schedules and rehearsals. He then turns to Miwa to invite her for breakfast, but she's already downing juice, probably fueling her brain with all the sugar it needs. Feeling crushed, the non-prodigy in a house full of geniuses walks to the kitchen, thinking how it's just like it used to be with his mom, who only ever cooked for herself, proving just how self-centered prodigies can get. He wonders how he failed to connect with his own family, yet somehow thought he could pull that off with complete strangers. Just when he sits down to enjoy breakfast, Nico walks in. Though she clearly wants to eat all the neatly baked food, she controls herself and claims it's an unbalanced meal for her. Yu starts licking the food to tempt her, but she loudly complains about the excessive carbohydrates and lipids, adding that she still needs at least 20 more grams of protein along with vitamin B. Yu finds it ridiculous how someone needs to calculate nutrients before eating. Nico explains that for her, eating right is just as important as training. As the girls get ready to leave, he remembers how his mother used to follow different diet plans depending on the type of shoot she had. When the ladies rush out toward the gate in a hurry, he suddenly appears behind them and says they've forgotten something. That instantly sends a chill down their spines, and they begin checking everything in panic while arguing over what's missing. But he only meant to wish them a good day. Even though they find it unnecessary, the girls end up blushing on their way to practice and somehow feel a little happy about it. Meanwhile, Yu moves on to doing the dishes, and in the middle of it, he receives a call from the shady Mr. Mikadono. The man informs him that he won't be around much due to his responsibilities, which basically leaves Yu stuck alone with the 3 girls. The uncle then asks him for a favor, saying he should support his daughters since they'll soon be facing their own hurdles. According to him, simply being there for them would be enough to help them open up. His future father-in-law goes into detail that each of the sisters has their problems to go through. Firstly, Kazuki has an upcoming audition. Nico will fight for the top spot in the Karate Nationals, and Miwa has to fight for her title in a shogi match. Hearing that his chances of smashing will skyrocket if he is successful in helping the girls out, Yu gets really excited and hangs up. After taking a deep breath, Yu wonders what someone useless like him can even help them with the physique of a chihuahua and the brainpower of a vacuum cleaner. He doubts he can help prodigies who don't take a minute off even on the weekends. However, that's when it hits him that if they fail, they will be called failures just like he's been his whole life, and to make sure that doesn't happen to them as well, he swears he will never let them suffer. He begins by going out on a journey to understand each of the girls to win over their hearts with wholesome family dinners. As the sun sets, Nico gets back home from training looking all depressed when her heart suddenly pops out of her chest because she completely forgot she has a man-slave living under the same roof. Yu takes a bit of the soup out of the pot and charmingly licks it up like holy nectar, making Nico go doki doki, and then offers her to taste his cooking for herself. But she smugly shoots him down and says she doesn't need his extra creamy stuff because she brought her own. After finishing her bath, she steps out looking like a queen only to find the little guy deep in the zone cooking up something so good even the rock smells it from across the street. Yu goes through dozens of recipe books and locks in every detail to craft the ultimate dinner. Watching him go so hard even after she brushed him off earlier seriously gets under Nico's skin. Just then, Miwa walks in, and Yu grins like a proud chef announcing he's about to serve soup so good it will curl her toes. Seeing him act like a complete dork, the girls assume he's just running his mouth again. That's when Nico remembers the old days when the sisters had a private chef cooking 5-star meals with premium ingredients, but even 5-star refused to eat that fancy slop because it seriously lacked nutrients, and she only eats what's good for her body. Later that night, the redhead is in her room chugging down Taco Bell like a starving African when curiosity finally wins her over. So she sneaks into the kitchen, sees Yu isn't there, and spots a fine feast waiting on the table. That's when Yu jumps out from behind and hits her with a surprise nutrition attack and drops facts like the meal's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals more than enough to get ripped, plus his secret sauce to help it all go down smooth. Overwhelmed by the stats, she admits defeat and Yu collapses because he is drained from talking to a diet expert the entire day just to craft the perfect dinner for her. Realizing how much effort he put in, Nico turns redder than a ripe tomato and finally sits to give it a try. The second it hits her taste buds, she tells him to pass her compliments to the chef. Yu, meanwhile, starts to wonder if he really can tame her with food the way he tames cats in Minecraft, but his goofy face makes her visibly uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Miwa's already drooling at the sight of the spread and tries to sneak downstairs for a bite. But Yu catches her mid-sneak and starts bombarding her with nutrition facts until she gives up and joins the table like a normal person. Hearing that he tailored the food for Miwa too, Nico's respect for Yu spikes through the roof. Miwa points at her sister's rare soft expression and notices it's been a while since she's looked like that, and also notices Nico's packed on a few pounds. Nico snaps back that Miwa's not exactly model material herself, but Miwa just laughs because all the goods go up top while the rest fuels her galaxy brain. While Yu is satisfied watching the sisters chat, Kazuki walks in and is instantly disgusted to see them eating together at the table like some kind of wholesome family. The Riz Lord sneaks up on her and casually lets her know he's got some brown rice packed with B12 for her skin, along with a salmon marinade full of antioxidants to wipe out all the depression from her long day at work. His pitch nearly works, but she shuts him down cold and refuses to be charmed like her weak-willed sisters. Nico snaps back and defends Yu's weak-willed tensions, but Kazuki makes it crystal clear she isn't against family bonding, and it's just that eating a peasant's cooking at the same table like a normal family doesn't quite suit the princess. And just like that, the last sliver of Yu's self-respect vanishes into the shadow realm. Seeing him look like his grandma just died, Nico grabs the plate from his hands and starts eating to cheer him up. But Yu recovers instantly and strongly warns her that if she keeps stealing extra servings, she really will turn into a chubby teddy bear. Miwa is baffled whether he even wants them to eat his cooking or not, while Nico nearly pops an aneurysm from his disrespect. Yu politely declares that it's his job to track everything that comes in or out of her body, and his outrageous wording nearly makes Nico explode in embarrassment. 3 days have passed since Yu moved in with the Mikadono sisters, but despite his tireless efforts, Kazuki still refuses to touch anything made by his filthy hands, recalling their father's order to help the girls reach their full potential. Yu channels his inner Lelouch and makes a plan A. During break time, high-pitched squeals echo through the halls as a crowd of girls swarms Kazuki-senpai like moths, showering her with bottom-tier praise. Yu's jaw hits the floor at how wildly popular she is, but he braces for impact and waves hello at the pack with a big smile. The girls instantly recognize him as that talentless bum, and Kazuki tells him to be gone before he taints her divine aura with his loser energy while shooting him a glare like he's used toilet paper. But Yu calls her a meanie as he announces he stayed up all night trying to win her over, and he has something only he can give her, and he is sure she would love it, obviously talking about his cooking. The girls are wildly flustered, so Kazuki shouts at Yu to stop misleading everyone with his nasty statement and swears she's going to make him pay for this when they're back home, which digs the hole even deeper. Her army of fans bombards her with questions, so Yu uses the chaos to slip away. Later, Yu meets up with Nico to strategize on how to win over Kazuki and ends up shocked at how much the karate club depends on her. But as soon as she spots him, Kazuki remembers his outrageous claim from the day before, and the sheer audacity of him showing his face again makes her livid. Her devoted Sims instantly question who this fool thinks he is calling her by her first name so casually, but one look at the Demon Queen sends them running. Yu quickly realizes he won't make it out in one piece if he keeps this up, so Miwa is officially the only card he has left to play. Elsewhere in the school, Miwa is busy playing shogi on her phone when she hears her classmates struggling over a problem. She does some quick math and bluntly says they must really be deficient in brain cells if they can't even solve something that easy. As expected, the girls make a quick exit with their last shred of respect intact, and Yui watches them on their way out. He walks into class, but after sensing Miwa's completely different mood at school, he tones down his excitement. Yu politely invites her to join him for lunch in the cafeteria, but she tells him to get lost. When Miwa realizes he won't give up, she power walks out of class, and he keeps following her around the school. He stubbornly chases her even after she insists he leave her alone, and before they know it, she's laughing happily as she runs away like it's a game of tag. After playing around, the obviously not athletic duo pants like dogs with asthma, and he points out that she seems like the silent kid in class. Hearing that, she confesses that the low-wit conversations of average high school girls are too hard to relate to because she is one of the royals. When Yu says he can relate, she stares in raw confusion at how that's even possible. Sitting down with peak confidence, he says he's also pretty royal, or rather royally short, intellectually disabled, and a royal failure despite the charming looks he inherited from his amazing mother. He tries to explain to her that being different is not really a bad thing, and in the middle of his motivational TED talk, Yu forgets what he was even talking about, which really gets on Miwa's nerves. But after roasting him for a bit, she calls him a baka, her little baka. While eating lunch, Yu tells Miwa he's looking for a way to win Kazuki over because he's running out of straws to grasp. So she tells him that when she was 3, she saw her sister really happy when their mother made a meal special just for her. But that's pretty much all she remembers, which leaves Yu utterly shocked because his goldfish brain can't even remember what he did 5 minutes ago. But with that one clue, he gets back into the kitchen and starts theorizing what dishes her mom used to make for her. Just then, Kazuki appears from behind, looking like a zombie, and when he asks her a question, she falls with a heavy thud because she has a really bad fever. Later in her room, the princess argues it really wasn't a big deal, and that she was just tired. But Miwa gets third-degree burns just touching her forehead, and Nico tries to slap a cooling pad on her while the stubborn sister fights back. That's when Yu shows up with a bowl of porridge, which makes her so angry she throws all of them out before crying alone in bed over her frail body. Yu realizes she knows how easily she gets sick and still continues her rehearsals without fail. He leaves the porridge at her door, but after the second time she sends it back, he barges into the ungrateful gremlin's room and gets chewed out by her. But on her way to kick him out, her knees give out and she falls in slow motion while he just stands there ready to become her human cushion. She then asks him why he won't leave her alone, and Yu fires back that he wants her to get well soon so she doesn't miss rehearsals, and even offers to give her private classes. Kazuki seriously doubts his skills, but he brags that he debuted when he was 2 and asserts dominance as her senpai with 4 years of seniority. After going over the script, he takes the role of the princess while Kazuki plays the prince. Although the moment the first line more stiff than morning wood leaves his mouth, she slams the door in his face. Our boy tells her he was just warming up before he admits that his mom got him countless auditions and he failed every single one. That makes her really angry, and she tells the Nepo baby he'll never understand what hard work feels like. But he returns the next day after rereading the script, only to get rejected again. On the 3rd day, he comes back after practicing 10 times, but his horrendous acting makes her ears bleed. The day after, she angrily tells him to stop nagging, so he admits defeat, while she remembers the high expectations of her acting team to carry the film with her flawless performance. Kazuki decides to get out of bed instead of wasting time, but when she sees Yu practicing in the living room, it's a real shocker how much he still sucks even after all that effort, and that makes her smile. The next morning, she gets to hear his NPC tier acting again, but this time she decides to play along. In that genuine moment, Yu delivers some brilliant acting that shocks them both. He tears up over finally making his mommy proud after 14 years of failing, and Kazuki is refreshed to see the goofball getting so happy over a single line. That makes her so happy she tells him she'll let a peasant like him serve her a meal, but on one condition. Yu asks what it is, but she acts super shy like she's about to show him her browser history in incognito mode, and then suddenly blurts out a list of things she doesn't want to eat, which makes Yu realize she's too embarrassed to admit she's a picky eater. The following day, Miwa and Nico have seizures in sync as they watch Kazuki calmly eat Yuo's cooking with satisfaction and think the end times are coming. Yu compliments her for finishing her soup like a good girl, but she says she'll eat anything if it doesn't have carrots. That's when he whispers he put shredded carrots in it the whole time and leaves her quivering. Taking a seat, he finally breathes a sigh of relief after finally succeeding in hooking the sisters on what he cooks. However, he is hit with a big surprise the next day that they won't be needing him to cook for them, because the girls will be out most of the day practicing for their big day. So he awkwardly wishes them a good day while feeling like a housewife who just got divorced. Still, that's nothing new for him, since his mother was also out for months at a time, though that's exactly why they didn't get to become close like they wished. Once again, he gets hit with a vibe check that the distance between geniuses like them and no lives like him is too big, and even though their father asked him to support them, he's lost on what to do. Staring out the window, he recalls a memory of a little note his mom wrote in the hospital, saying she wishes for him to have a happy family, and that's when he realizes he doesn't even know what a happy family is. Suddenly, he remembers the show in which his mom starred as the loving mother of a family show with zero drama and pure wholesome family-friendly goodness. He binges through 6 volumes in one sitting, and the part comes where his mom plays the happiest part of her life, her wedding, but it hits him that all of this is scripted, and the real family he's stuck with is the complete opposite of what she wished for him. Just then, the Mikadono sisters are back home and roast Miwa for being a slob because she acts so worn out it's like she's back from a shift in the coal mines. They find Yu wiping his tears while watching some movies and wonder just what got him so emotional. Miwa thinks it's just another family show, but the moment Kazuki sees his mom on TV, she realizes he is still a child who really misses his mother, even though Yu was just vibing. With a serious look on her face, she assures him he doesn't have to work so hard and be an at-home dad to make it feel like they're a family, and Miwa backs her up. Nico chimes in that he's welcome to be a freeloader because they didn't really expect much from him from the start, but that makes him so angry. Yu confesses that the reason he works so hard is because he didn't try to bond with his mom, thinking she was too different from him, and that was a mistake he regretted later on. So he wants to connect heart to heart and refuses to miss the chance at enjoying a happy family life with them as well. All 3 sisters are creeped out the moment they hear him say happy family, and Nico mumbles to herself that happy families are a fantasy that only exists on TV. But Tsundeer still humors him and asks how they can be family. All the while the protagonist on TV proposes to the heroine and kisses her, making the audience squeal. After watching that, Yu feels the Mikadono sisters pierce his soul with their stare before going full panic over the little man's crazy plan. Kazuki is in denial. She actually fantasized about getting married for a sec, while Nico tries to convince herself she'd rather train than marry a failure, and Miwa thinks she got brainwashed by the stupid love scene. Right then, Yu declares that he's already made his choice and says Nico's name. Leaving her frozen in place, he hypes types it up and states they have to know each other's birthdays. The three sisters short circuit as he explains Nico's in the same grade, so as family he should know whether she's his little sister or an Ara-1san. That baffles the girls again, and they tell the freeloading peasant to stay in the trash where he belongs. Later in the bath, Nico is still flustered during her bath when she hears his low testosterone scream echoing from the kitchen. She rushes out thinking someone broke in, only to find him devastated because there's no bread left for sandwiches. Nico snaps at him to stop crying over things as tiny as him, but when she realizes she's basically naked, she flies off in embarrassment and bumps right into Miwa. Her intellectual sister immediately notices she's a bit too red for someone who just got out of the bath. Miwa begins analyzing every possible scenario that could have made her this flustered when Yu shows up with a bundle of towels. Her hormones go haywire the second his hand touches hers, so she drops the towels and starts bullying him, which makes Yu think he's being punished for freeloading. Seeing Miwa having a hormonal meltdown just like her, Nico asks if she also has a crush on the little rascal. But Miwa immediately locks onto the also and starts chewing her out on confessing by accident, while Yu silently folds towels in the war zone, watching the two sisters make a ruckus. Kazuki sighs and tells her little sisters to act their darn age. Yu asks for her help putting a pot away on the top shelf, and the charming princess asks if he needs anything else after she's done. When Yu thanks her with a charming smile, she acts cool as it obviously didn't make her melt, until her sisters catch it and call her out, triggering a heated threesome over who's the biggest idiot in love. Eventually, Yu gets fed up and tells them all to knock it off because they're family. He also admits he has no clue what they're fighting about, which leaves the girls staring at him in raw disappointment. After they leave, he sighs and then notices they've left the entire living room in shambles. While cleaning up, Yu quietly reflects that real life will never be as perfect as it looks on TV. Even then, the dinner they shared is a memory he'll always treasure. He finds himself wishing for a happy life with them, and that's when he stumbles across an unexpected treasure, a photo of the Mikadono trio as adorable little kids. He instantly overdoses on the cuteness and wonders how they went from that to what they are now. He wishes he could take a new photo of them under the cherry blossom tree and decides to ask around about who forgot the picture. But when he checks with the sisters, all three immediately slam the door in his face. That only fuels Sherlock Holmes' suspicions that one of them is hiding something. And if someone's holding on to this photo, it means deep down one of them misses the good old family days just like he does. However, the next morning all three sisters go their separate ways, shutting down his private investigation before it begins. Still, he's impressed to learn that these prodigies travel all over the country and decides to dig deeper into where their events are being held. And that's when he hits the jackpot. Later that night, Yu warms up some milk to help Kazuki sleep better, but Miwa and Nico look visibly annoyed because they forgot to book a hotel room. Right on cue, their knight in shining sarcasm stuns them by revealing he already booked a hotel for them. He hands them two separate maps and cheekily wishes them a happy stay because he picked out a 5-star place for them. Miwa's not that thrilled and pouts that she can't be happy eating trash food for 2 days, and Nico agrees. That's when the cheeky gremlin asks if she's saying she can't even go a single day without him, making her cheeks redder than roses. The smug goblin grins widely and says he's happy to join them. Later at the shogi tournament, Miwa dominates her opponent like a boss within seconds, leaving everyone stunned by her raw talent. On her way out, a woman informs her that her next match will be against a 4th grade master, so it might be a challenge. But Miwa walks off looking bored and thinks about practicing with AI at the hotel. That's when a breathtaking view of cherry blossoms completely captivates her. She recalls wholesome memories from their childhood and heads back to the hotel, only for her jaw to crash into the basement on seeing a disguised Kazuki checking in at the counter. The two sisters immediately start questioning each other, and in the middle of that, Nico also makes her entrance and drops her bag in pure shock. Finally catching on, Miwa asks the Flamehead if her tournament is also in the same town. Yu shows up all smug and comments how it's pretty wrong for three sisters to not even know each other's destination. He proudly reveals that since they don't talk, he made time for them to do exactly that. The sisters start raging when they learn he booked them into the same room. But Yu just pretends he's done them a huge favor by giving them a chance for a classic girl talk all night. Putting that aside, they ask what he's doing here, and Yu declares himself their official guide for the festival, while secretly scheming to take a family photo whether they like it or not. However, the sisters gang up on his dumb idea, so he tries to convince them there's a famous shrine they can visit to pray for luck. Nico shoots him down, saying she's not a failure like him who needs luck. But Yu argues that even top prodigies from Hollywood go there because faith unlocks a whole new level of confidence. Plus, it's a great way to blow off steam from their depressing routines. He finally wins them over by mentioning the fresh seafood since it's an oceanside town, and that leaves the girls, especially Kazuki, with no choice. She says it's all for her Insta page and suggests they go shopping for some tasteful drip. With that, they head to a kimono store Yu looked up beforehand, and the shopkeeper ladies are dazzled by the three legends suddenly appearing. They get excited and choose a mature-style kimono for Kazuki to match her grace, while Miwa picks a kitty-themed one to suit her playful personality. But when Yu turns to find Nico, she's still sitting there looking annoyed, so he asks if she doesn't like kimonos. He points out that there are tons of styles, but she grumbles that she wouldn't look good in one anyway. The shop lady then brings her a sharp design to match her handsome personality. But Nico flashes back to when she once wanted a girly dress, and their father never let her buy anything feminine. She snaps at the shop lady, but right then Yu shows up with a kimono that radiates peak femininity, and says he thinks it's perfect for her because she's the cutest girl he knows. Nico gets hit right in the feelings, and when he asks her to choose between the two styles, she takes both into the changing room, and the moment she comes out with her hair tied, all three of them are completely blown away by her enchanting beauty. Afterwards, the not-so-typical family heads out to enjoy the festival. Miwa mentions that she's starting to feel hungry, prompting Yu to remind her to stay close and not wander off too far. Just then, the crowd recognizes Kazuki, and in no time, a swarm of people rushes toward her like a pack of fans desperate for an autograph. Yu had hoped the sisters would grow closer through this outing, but from the way things are unfolding, Kazuki seems to have switched into work mode. While she watches her sisters enjoy their food, Kazuki briefly feels a tinge of nostalgia, but brushes it off. At the same time, a girl nearby, who clearly has no interest in Kazuki, urges her friend to hurry up and follow her. However, as she turns away, her sandal breaks and she starts falling forward. Before she hits the ground, Kazuki catches her and ends up impressing even the ones who weren't her fans. Carrying the girl in a princess lift, she helps her find a place to sit down. Meanwhile, Yu is having a hard time trying to keep track of Kazuki in such a chaotic crowd. After Kazuki escorts the girl to safety and starts wandering around with a trail of fangirls behind her, she suddenly gets shoved straight into the bushes by someone she instantly suspects to be a kidnapper. Turns out, the so-called kidnapper is none other than our boy. The blue head gets ready to raise hell, already puffing up with rage, demanding an explanation for whatever that was supposed to be, but before she can start ranting, he calmly shuts her up and tells her to just dig into the food he brought so she can actually enjoy the festival. She argues, of course, and turns her face away like a sulking cat, insisting he can't always bribe her with food. But our guy isn't backing down and points out that he saw she hurt her foot. Without wasting time, he checks it and finds out it's actually a pretty bad injury. While carefully wrapping it up, he drops a few wise words about how she doesn't need to fit into anyone's expectations and should just be whoever the hell she wants to be. The redhead finishes bandaging her foot with that calm, no-nonsense touch, while she sits there silently blushing like a confused middle schooler. Meanwhile, Nico and Miwa are trying their best to enjoy the day, but it turns out the orange head is hilariously hopeless at festival games. Her face turns redder than a boiled tomato as she keeps failing to catch even a single salmon, flailing around like she's fishing with her eyes closed. Just then, both of them freeze when they spot their elder sister walking over to join them, and right beside her is Yu, who's somehow convinced her to wear a sus mask to help her go incognito. Yu then suggests a match, teaming up with Kazuki, while the other side gets stuck with Nico and Miwa. Nico immediately takes a jab at her sister, saying she should wear that creepy smiley mask all the time since her usual face looks like she's ready to kill someone. Kazuki smiles under the mask, and the match kicks off. Yu ends up snapping his fish-catching paddle first, followed by Miwa, who instantly cries foul play and accuses her sister of cheating since she hasn't even chipped hers yet. Things spiral fast, and the challenge turns into a full-on sibling brawl. Yu backs off, figuring this might be a rare bonding moment in disguise, and dashes off to check out some grand competition happening nearby. Apparently, the task is to hop across lotus-shaped platforms and make it all the way to the Torii Gate, which honestly looks like a rigged game for superhumans. The winner not only gets a ridiculous amount of luck, but also an awkward selfie with the shrine's golden guardian. The hosts are dead serious too, claiming that setting the selfie as your phone wallpaper boosts your luck, and even throwing in a weird guarantee. Yu scrolls through the old festival photo of the sisters and realizes this is the same competition where they once won and got that statue shot. Inspired, he decides to recreate that scene, hoping he can somehow pull off the impossible and make it to the finish line himself. Before Yu can even make up his mind, the crowd's already going wild. with people rushing in to win that cursed selfie with the statue. One after another, they fail miserably as some of the Lotus platforms just dip and sink the moment someone steps on them. Turns out, you've got to find the lucky path of leaves to make it all the way to the gate without ending up soaked, which basically makes this whole thing feel like a live-action version of Fall Guys. People keep leaping and falling, making it slightly easier for the next batch to guess which platforms might actually hold up. The more they fall, the clearer the path becomes, but the hosts just keep grinning like evil game show villains. According to them, this challenge is so ridiculously hard that no one's managed to clear it for the past 10 years, and the last ones to actually make it were none other than the three prodigy sisters themselves. Just then it becomes Yu's turn to join in, and he goes under almost instantly like the universe had it out for him from the start. Even though the rules clearly allow people to try again, most of them quit after realizing it's probably not worth wasting their time for a glorified photo with a golden toy. But Yu stays stubborn and keeps flinging himself into the water. The poor kid wrecks his face, but there's not a chance he even thinks about backing down, even as night falls and the rain begins to hammer down like some divine sign to quit. Yu still refuses to admit defeat. The hosts eventually try to talk him into giving up, saying it's not really about effort, but just pure dumb luck, and they even offer to let him snap a photo without technically winning. But Yu ends up thinking about how the sisters probably won by moving together like one unit with perfect timing, and that memory convinces him to push through no matter what. He keeps launching himself onto those shaky platforms and somehow manages to reach the gate this time. The hosts applaud and finally invite him to take the selfie, but the redhead bolts off instead, shouting something about needing to go grab some people first. As he runs off to find the Mikadono sisters, an announcement rings out about the festival ending early due to heavy rain. Realizing he's too late, he drops flat on the floor, feeling useless. The voices of the three girls echo in his head, remembering how he had dragged them here in the first place, assuming they must have stormed back to the hotel and that he'd be left behind once again. But as he shuts his eyes and opens them, he finds the three prodigies standing right in front of him with their umbrellas. They ask why he never came back and why he's now drenched and covered in mud. Yu says he figured they would have ditched him, but the girls respond that they aren't that heartless. They ask him to lead the way back to the hotel, calling him their festival conductor, and even let him share their umbrella, explaining how only 3 were left at the stall and they couldn't get a 4th one. Eventually, the 3 sisters end up arguing over who gets to share the umbrella with Oliver. Miwa wins the rock paper scissors match and takes the spotlight. After returning and finishing their baths, the girls check on their personal conductor and find him looking like a total mess. They ask if he's planning to skip bathing altogether, and that's when the redhead sheepishly admits he forgot to book a separate room for himself. Now, all the nearby hotels are full, and he has nowhere to stay. Smiling awkwardly, the boy says he'll just crash at a cafe. The sisters stare at him, realizing he's hopeless, and just as he's about to leave, Kazuki stops him and pulls him into their room. They all argue about how it would be a disgrace to their name and profession to let a kitten catch a cold in the rain outside. Nico even points out that since they already live together, handling this once wouldn't be a big deal. The next issue that pops up is that there's no robe for the boy to wear, since the hopeless loser forgot to bring one too. After a few awkward glances and fidgety moments, Yu finally spots an extra robe and hurries off to take a shower. While he's bathing, he yells out from behind the door, telling them to forget he even exists and just get a good night's rest. Eventually, the lights go out and everyone settles in to sleep. But now a new problem arises. The 3 prodigies find their hearts pounding, unable to fall asleep. Their faces stay flushed, despite having no fever. The story then rewinds a little, revealing that Yu actually succeeded in his mission to get the 3 sisters to take a photo with the statue. As expected, he messed things up again and ended up clowning around, which only made the sisters laugh harder. Back in the present, when the boy enthusiastically checks his bag, he can't find the old photo of the 3 sisters. Instead, he discovers a letter saying she's taken the picture back. He smiles, happy that the photo is now with its rightful owner, and falls asleep in mere seconds. Seeing him knocked out so quickly, the 3 girls quietly sit up, wondering why they're all still awake. They exchange glances and softly start talking about how they haven't changed one bit. They argue and laugh over old memories, realizing how even though they live together, life has kept them so busy they barely have time for moments like this. Miwa turns around and checks both the old and the new photos with her sisters, confirming that she was the one who had kept the original safe all along. She chuckles, thinking of Yu as a lovable idiot who went through all that trouble just to get them to take another photo together. The 3 sisters silently thank the boy in their own hearts before finally drifting off to sleep. The next morning, as chores are being taken care of, Yu casually checks the news and is surprised to see headlines praising the three prodigies for delivering outstanding results, despite having spent the previous night completely goofing around. The next day, while sitting in his class, Yu fantasizes about how he will prepare dinner for the three sisters once he returns home. He spends the entire day shopping for ingredients and then heads over to the Mikadono mansion just as the sun is about to set. When he opens the gate, he finds that the three sisters are already back home earlier than expected. He also notices a pair of shoes that he does not recognize. As he walks in, he sees the three sisters standing politely in front of a man sitting calmly on the sofa. The moment feels a bit intense as Yu wonders who the person is, but the moment he hears his voice, he immediately realizes it belongs to Mr. Mikadono and quickly greets him, introducing himself properly. Mr. Mikadono expresses his condolences for what happened to Yu's mother, but assures him there is no need to worry because as long as he is around, her talents will always live on. Yu finds these expectations too overwhelming for someone like him, and then looks at the Mikadono sisters as he wonders why they all seem so serious. Mr. Mikadono then shifts the conversation and coldly asks Kazuki for her performance report. She quickly explains that her routine is jam-packed and she has an interview scheduled for tomorrow. When he turns to Nico, she confidently mentions winning championships as usual and assures him she will not slow down. Lastly, it is Miwa's turn, and she also gives a perfect report. As Yu is about to say something, Mikadono stands up and interrupts, saying the performance reports have been discussed, and he will now take his leave. Yu stops him and asks if he would be interested in joining them for dinner, since he had planned to cook for them. Without replying, Mikadono walks over to a mask lying nearby. Yu explains that they went to a festival over the weekend. Mikadono becomes serious and asks whose idea it was. The boy excitedly tells him how he took them there, and the sisters all ended up in the same place, and that it was the same festival they once visited as children. Mikadono lifts the mask near his face, then scolds Yu for interfering with his daughter's success. Yu talks about the good luck they received from the visit, but Mikadono dismisses it, saying he believes only in hard work and not in luck. He walks up to Yu and harshly reminds him how useless and miserable he is despite being the son of a talented actress. He breaks the mask in half and calls Yu an average nobody, claiming that talentless people have no place in his home. As he continues to insult him and grabs him tightly by the shoulder, the sisters finally stand up for Yu. They argue with their father, explaining that while Yu may not have major achievements, he handles everything in the house from cleaning to cooking, so they can focus on their careers. Kazuki firmly adds that they are able to perfect their talents only because he supports them behind the scenes. When Mikadono questions why they are defending someone so average and if they truly need him, the sisters blush and give clumsy excuses. Still, they keep arguing that they get along well with Yu and have formed a strong bond with him. However, their father stays firm and tells them that there is no space in the Mikadono family for socializing. He reminds them they are not children anymore and forbids them from attending any more festivals. He tells them to focus on improving their results and then leaves. Yu quietly asks if they will join him for dinner, but Nico turns around and gently apologizes, saying they no longer have time to enjoy his delicious food. A week passes, and everything seems to go back to the way it was before Yu started living at the mansion. But after meeting their father, Yu finally understands why these girls work so hard to perfect their talents, and it is all because of their strict upbringing. He remembers how the sisters finally started getting along with each other. That night, everyone at the club is returning home, except for Nico, who stays late to practice like she used to. It turns out she had been coming home early just for dinner, but now she is back to her usual schedule, as she takes a break to eat. The food tastes bland after getting used to Yu's cooking. Kazuki feels the same as she looks at her healthy smoothie, packed with nutrients, but she cannot bring herself to drink it anymore. Even Miwa seems off as her usual snacks do not feel as exciting. All three girls find themselves stuck, wondering why they can no longer go back to their old routine. Meanwhile, even Yu feels down and wishes things could go back to how they used to be. He remembers the warm family from the TV show his mother acted in and decides he wants to create something just like that. This thought gives him a new sense of motivation. The next morning, as the three sisters step out of the house, Nico realizes that Yu didn't greet them with his usual cheerful voice, and that makes her feel sad. Later at school, when lunchtime arrives, Nico opens her bag to grab a protein bar, but instead finds a packed lunch. Her face turns as red as a tomato, and the same happens with the other two sisters, each finding a neatly packed meal. When Nico's crewmates ask if she is not going to eat it and suggest they could have it, she firmly refuses and says she will eat every bite herself. Meanwhile, Yu is asleep on his notebook, completely exhausted after waking up at 4 in the morning to prepare their meals. Later, when he finds their lunch boxes completely empty, he smiles to himself, knowing they enjoyed the food. That evening, the three sisters call Yu over and seriously tell him that they want to form a co-stewardship with him. Confused, Yu wonders why they are suddenly talking about ships. But the sisters do not look in the mood to be joking, as they remind him that their father warned he would throw Yu out unless he proved himself. So they propose that if he supports them in the coming challenges, they are willing to accept him as one of their own. They explain what lies ahead for each of them and say they need his help to face it all. Excited by the idea, Yu promises he will make lunch for them every day because they are a family. But the sisters correct him and explain clearly that he is only a supporter. The next day, just as the Mikadono sisters are about to leave for the day, Yu hands them their packed lunches. Kazuki informs him that they will be returning home around 7 in the evening, so he can get dinner ready for them as well. He sends them off with his usual warm wish, and for some reason, that simple gesture makes all three of them blush like hot tomatoes, almost as if everything feels just right in that moment. Later during practice, Kazuki wears a wig and awkwardly tries working on her feminine side. But just then, two women suddenly appear and end up scaring the life out of her. While Nico is in the middle of practice, her phone rings and she quickly answers, only to hear that her trainer has just returned from an overseas tour and wants to meet her. At the same time, little Miwa is deep in her own training session, but ends up being knocked down by her trainer. Her trainer calmly reminds her that the time is coming when she'll have to finally choose which path she truly wants to follow. By the time the Mikadono sisters return home later that evening, each of them has a lot running through her mind. But as soon as they enter the house, they find Yu clumsily running on top of a flour bag, and when they ask what he is doing, he tells them with confidence that he plans to add udon to the recipe and wants to use whole wheat flour this time to help lower the carb content in their diet. Just as he's explaining everything, he suddenly slips and falls hard, hurting himself in the process, which makes the girls laugh a little before walking off, mentioning that they'll still be joining him for dinner. Later that night at the table, the sisters remark that the food tastes a bit average today, which leads them to recall how their father used to hate anything that felt mediocre. Yet in that quiet moment, each of them finds a kind of comfort in this mediocrity. Later, while Yu is doing the dishes, Kazuki walks in and offers to help, saying she's trying to work on her feminine side. Yu points out that doing the dishes doesn't really have anything to do with being feminine, but she insists and joins in anyway. When Yu brings up the audition, Kazuki suddenly panics a little, admitting that it's her first time playing a feminine role, and that's probably why she's so nervous. Just then, she notices bandages on Yu's hand and asks what happened. Yu explains that he's not very good at cooking and ends up burning himself pretty often. The two continue chatting casually for a bit until Yu suddenly slips and ends up with a nosebleed. Kazuki quickly rushes to help but ends up slipping too, landing right above him in what almost looks like a kiss. She quickly gets up, and while Yu starts apologizing, she brushes it off, saying it was just an accident. Later, while taking care of his nosebleed, Yu cannot help but feel sorry for the girl as she literally kissed a guy with a bleeding nose. Yet she does not seem bothered at all, which makes him realize she must be used to scenes like that on stage. Still, he feels bad for himself too, knowing his first kiss ended up tasting like blood. On the other hand, when Nico mentions it might rain, Kazuki turns on the TV to check the weather, only to find a kissing scene playing instead. She quickly turns it off and tells Nico to check the weather online instead. After that, she comes across Miwa and says her jelly looks tasty. Miwa proudly says it was made just for her by the new kid, adding that it feels like nibbling on a pair of soft lips. The mention of lips throws Kazuki off again, and she slams her coffee on the table before storming off to her room and shutting the door behind her. As she touches her lips, still flustered, the boy suddenly walks in without knocking, which immediately triggers her anger. Yu calmly explains that he only came to clear the air, adding that he is pretty sure she would not want one of her kisses wasted on someone like him. He suggests they both pretend it never happened. As he walks out, Kazuki bursts with frustration, calling him a jerk for saying something like that. Later during her practice, she starts thinking Yu might have been right, and forgetting what happened might really be the best thing for now since she needs to stay focused on her upcoming audition. She tries rehearsing her feminine role, but keeps failing since everything she has done until now has been more like a prince than a girl. During another session, while once again acting in a prince role, she looks closely at the girl she is performing with and suddenly realizes what she had been missing in her earlier performance. Just when the scene leads into a kiss, her mind flashes back to her earlier accident, and she jumps back, completely embarrassed. Her director immediately stops her and asks what is going on, reminding her that whatever happens in her personal life will eventually affect her performance on stage. Later that night, Kazuki walks up to Yu and tells him that her practice has gotten tougher lately, so she needs him to make her some stamina-boosting meals. As Yu gets up and closes the curtains, she suddenly asks if he is free this Sunday. After he confirms, she steps a little closer, and in an awkward moment, she looks him in the eye and confidently tells him that she wants him to go on a date with her this Sunday. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.